Republican to independent. Congressman Mitchell has also said that he will be withdrawing from his engagement and association with the Republican Party at the national and state level, though he will still endorse and help candidates with whom he shares principles. Joining us now is Congressman Mitchell of Michigan. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. You have clearly been disgusted based on your Twitter feed for weeks with the unfounded voter fraud claims and conspiracy theories being pushed by the president. Was the final straw last week when a majority of your colleagues, House Republicans, signed on to that baseless Texas lawsuit that would have disenfranchised all of the voters of your home state of Michigan, as well as Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia?
Well, Jake, I believe that any candidate has the ability to request a recount, to go through legal processes if they think there's some basis that the vote's not reasonable or some founded conspiracy concerns or concern about fraud. But we've gone through the process. And as I saw that amicus brief, as well as the discussions over the weekend in the national media, it became clear to me that I could no longer be associated with the Republican Party, that leadership does not stand up and say, the process, the election is over. It's over today. And then I saw the president tweet out that it's not over till January 20. Somehow he's going to continue to combat this. The people have voted. As I say in my letter, I voted for Donald Trump. I supported the administration policies 95, 96% of the time the last two terms. I've been active in the National State Party. But this party has to stand up for democracy first, for our Constitution first, and not political considerations, not protect a candidate, not simply for raw political power. And that's what I feel is going on, and I've had enough.
And for people who don't know, as you know, you've been with President Trump 95, 96% of the time. You voted for him in 2016, 2020. You're a member of the Conservative Republican Study Group in the House. You whipped votes for Republicans in Congress. You raised money for Republican candidates. And now you're going to be an independent because your letter, as I noticed, it CCs the clerk of the House.
Yes.
Tell us what it feels like in this moment, and how are you going to respond to critics who...
So that was Republican Congressman Paul Mitchell making it clear live on CNN that he is quitting the Republican Party. He's no longer going to be a member of the GOP and will identify himself as an independent. And I think this is absolutely the only way forward for Republicans that respect democracy. Because look, it's not just Donald Trump that has undercut democracy. If it was just Trump and his cronies and some of his rank and file base, you could look past it because the guy just lost to Joe Biden and in a few weeks he's not going to be president anymore. And then you could make the argument, well, that was bad. We've moved beyond the experiment. Time for something new. It might be disingenuous, but you could plausibly make that argument. But with a majority of Republicans in the House of Representatives, where Paul Mitchell sits, backing this insane effort by Donald Trump, and most U.S. senators either supporting Trump or staying silent for him, senators in the Republican Party, there is no way any Republican that respects democracy can stay in that party. One thing I've noted was that you needed to see more Republicans come out and criticize Trump for basically trying to pilfer the election from the American people, at least in the key swing states that, are the difference between him and Joe Biden being president, trying to invalidate the franchise of tens of millions of Americans. That's what Donald Trump tried to do, and he failed, but he tried. And Republicans at the local and state and national level fell behind him like utter cowardly sycophants. Just the absolute croniest, ghoulish stuff you've ever seen in a first world country. And I say that without hyperbole. It really is unprecedented. And now it's no longer enough to criticize him. It's not enough for Mitt Romney and Susan Collins and a few congressmen here or there to say, I don't support Donald Trump doing this. The Republican Party should be dead to anybody that identifies themselves as a believer of democracy. And so I'm saying this as somebody who would never vote Republican, and I wouldn't even vote for this guy ever. If you support democracy and you are a Republican, the only choice you have is to compel your local official to sit as an independent and perhaps look at forming a new third party that respects their values. Again, Paul Mitchell here is a conservative. He's not even a moderate Republican. Might not be super far right, but he's a mainstream conservative Republican who is sick of this noise. And if you think Republican conservative values have an electoral path in the country, that's fine, but resort to it without supporting a party that would burn down democracy before acknowledging a loss. You need more people like him. Even the Mitt Romneys of the world, as long as they have an R next to their name, they're no better than Trump.